Hello, recruiters. How are you guys doing? I hope you're having a great time in nice summer weather. Ever since we started round one, the only goal that we have in mind is to enable recruiters screen large volume of candidates with more efficiency and less bias. So we've recently introduced a couple of new features, and I thought let's just talk about them. Let's show you guys around what we've been up to. We're making every little change that helps recruiters do their job more efficiently. The first one is being able to create custom assessments, right? So if historically, if you look at all of the other screening or assessment tools, where you have to define every question that will be asked to a candidate during the screening. And then came all the AI tools where you let AI do everything, right? So AI will come up with the questions and in runtime ask follow-up questions and whatnot. That's what we have been doing. RoundOne has always been AI enabled. So you never had to define your questions. But as we expanded our reach from more than just tech roles, now we are open to all general roles, not just tech. We realized that there are some roles that require recruiters to be able to ask very specific questions during the screening call. We've come up with this new way of creating custom assessments where you can use based of both worlds. You can still do completely AI powered assessments, or now you now can to customize the assessment completely by defining all of the questions. So let's go ahead and see how that works in action. We'll start with creating an assessment. As always, you start with entering the role details, and if you're integrated with ATS, then you skip this step because you're importing your jobs from the ATS. But let's start with data scientist role, for example. Mid-level, let's go to the next step. This is where you now have options. You can still choose AI assisted, which will is it kind of an express way of creating an assessment where you don't define all the questions. AI will come up with the questions based on the skills that you choose. But now you also have an option to create customized assessment where you have complete control of the questions. Let's choose the customized assessment. And you still choose the skills. We recommend for the top level screening call, you choose about 2 or 3 skills which are most relevant to your job. So let's go with Python, machine learning, and SQL. And now this is the new step that we've recently added where you can define all the questions rather than relying on the AI. So I can add as many questions as I want for each of the skills and some general questions as well. But if I want AI to suggest me some questions, right, because we still want to be able to use AI, I'll use this feature to suggest questions. So for this role, AI has suggested that we ask some of these questions. So let me pick this one and then I'll add one more custom question. How many years of experience do you have using Python? So we've added 2 questions, one that AI suggested, one we've added. And let's do the same thing for the rest of the couple of skills. And then you now also have an option to add general questions because in the screening calls, we understand it's not all about skills, right? You want to ask some general questions. For example, what is your salary expectations? And what is your notice period? So you added this couple of custom questions. You can add as many as you want. And AI will basically ask these questions rather than coming up with questions on the fly. And as always, you have options with more languages now. I'll go ahead with the English and British accent. And this is how you create a customized assessment. So go ahead and give it a try and let me know what you think. If you feel that this can be further enhanced by adding any more features, feel free to let me know. Always happy to get the feedback. But what this will do is now you can tell AI of exactly what questions to ask rather than completely relying on AI. Coming to the next feature that we've recently introduced. So when you invite candidates, earlier you used to add the name and email, and we'll email them to start their assessment. They would come to the page where they can start their assessment on a browser. Now you have an option to add their phone number as well. And when you do that, AI will actually call your candidates proactively. So it's not going to just rely for the candidate to start their assessment, because a lot of candidates don't see their emails regularly. Sometimes they don't open the links, or it may go. So we don't want to lose good candidates. So in this case, if as soon as you add, I'll add my own um, details here as a candidate. And as soon as you add a phone number, you will have an option that call candidates. So we'll still send them invites, but then if we choose this option, call candidates, in this case, AI will immediately call these candidates and start their assessment. So let's give it a try. Successfully invited and called and talk for a minute or so. Yes, sure. You get the point. This is good because now you can proactively reach out to candidates directly on their phone rather than relying them to see their email and then click on a link and then come to a browser to do the assessment. It's much more intuitive and much more closer to a regular screening call that recruiters and candidates both have been used to so far. So yeah, give it a try. If the candidates don't pick up, they can always call back the same number to start their assessment again. You can always initiate the call, if the candidates were not available, and if you wanna just you can come to the screen and initiate the call again. And as soon as the candidates start taking the assessments, you will start seeing more and more progress here. So those are the two new features. Feel free to give it a try. Let me know what you think about them. I would be really happy to get some feedback on this. Cheers. Have a nice day.